Okay, chat, here we go. I hope someone joins and that we're not here by ourselves. But I think the stream is live. Let me check. Let me go to crappymcdick.com. I think it's working.
Do you have that domain registered?
I think it's working.
Do you have...
No, I do not. I don't know how to do that domain stuff. I don't know if I can check the chat. Wait, can I? I can only check the chat if I go away from the tier list, and that's gonna be annoying for the stream. I should really know how to stream instead of being a noob at this.
I have your stream open, I see you.
Can you tell if someone says anything and then mention it to me?
Sure.
Poof, that doesn't happen again. Okay. No. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
My internet dropped out for a second, and I hope that doesn't happen again during the stream. But
Linkin part.
We can just get to it. There's no reason to wait. Although it makes sense to wait for at least one person to be here.
As long as you archive this, I think that's all that matters.
As long as what?
As long as this remains archived on your channel, that's what matters.
It will. How much time do you have?
I have as much as you want.
Okay, cool. Then we'll
Which
wait.
is realistically 90 minutes, at the max.
Let's wait till someone comes, and if it's 5 minutes, we'll just start it.
Okay. Can you add the One More Light live to that little list down there? Because that's the only one that I don't see there that I'd like to talk about.
I think I can, yeah. Let me find a picture of it. I'll add it to the... if you have the tier list open, you can just add photo, add file. So if you find the live one.
I see it. One More Light live. I usually type in Genius when I search for album covers because that website hosts pretty consistently HD covers of the albums, high resolution ones, whereas other websites have really shit quality pics.
Damn, I didn't know that. Yeah, I don't even go to websites, and I don't really care about high quality.
I don't know. 10 years of torrenting music has taught me that.
You torrent music? That's interesting.
I do.
I've never done that. Who cares if one more poof hard in the sky of a... We can start. We can sing a little. We can do a song, karaoke, Linkin Park. What song?
This is my battle symphony.
Oh, I thought you were doing a fitting one. I thought you were doing My December, which is it makes sense. It's December, but then you're doing a really bad song. Maybe a bad song. I don't care. I actually re-listened to One More Light just before this stream. That's the last album I listened to in full.
The last one in full I listened to was, I think, The Hunting Party.
Yeah.
No. It was Living Things.
Well, we'll get to it. I'm not gonna spoil how I feel about these fuckers. I don't know. Are you looking at the stream? Do you see these little icons I've made?
Yes. These are great images.
I'll explain them. They'll all make sense. Some of them have more meaning than other ones. This one's terrible. Fuck.
Your stream is on a 30-second delay.
Yeah.
Let me try refreshing this
No, I
page.
think that's what they do on YouTube. So.
Oh no, I just refreshed and it's a 4-second delay.
Oh. How strange.
That's so interesting. I would think that they would give you that 30-second window, in case you say something horrible on the stream, which I'm sure happens every 5 seconds on this website.
Hey, we got a comment and you said nothing.
Eamon's here.
Who's Amon Star? How's work, Eamon? What are you doing? I hope you're not still mad at me over our Fortnite kerfuffle. That's a good thing to get
Fortnite
on.
breaks up families.
That's a good thing to get on stream. Me saying that.
I love Aim on Star.
Did you know that Mr. Han made a movie called The Mall?
I did not know that.
Apparently it's terrible, and I could not find it. I think it's on OK. Wait, it's not called.
I just saw a recent vlog of mine. I watched with Abby this new Sabrina Carpenter Christmas special.
Wow. Was it great?
It was phenomenal.
I don't know anything about her. She made a
No, it
song?
wasn't. She is one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now. She has one song I really like.
Is it Please,
but
Please,
her-
Please?
Yeah, I like that
I
song.
like
But this
it too.
Netflix special is nauseating.
Yeah. That song was
She's also in Tall Girl.
in Tall Girl?
Yeah, she was in Tall Girl.
That's kind of an old movie by now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's ancient.
It's ancient. No,
I
I'm
remember.
just saying she's
I remember.
anything.
In 2019, I went to like a little high school Halloween party, and they were playing Tall Girl at this party, and I don't know why they were doing that.
Well, it was a trendy movie for a second. People want to shit on these Netflix movies. Well, guess what? They're actually really good. They're popular for a reason.
When I went to Wausau, Wisconsin for a week a couple years ago, I also very drunkenly watched the second one with the group of people I was with at that time,
Uh-huh. I didn't know they made it.
and that was great. They did.
They should make one about me called Tiny Boy.
You got even taller.
Dude. Sorry, I just called you dude. I saw...
Okay.
Okay. I saw a big-ass woman, not fat, but like tall woman today on the train. And I don't care. I think that's cool. But I've never felt so small before. Like, towering over me. It was crazy.
Were you one of those people who was like posting crazy comments about that one Resident Evil chick that was like 9 feet tall a couple years ago? Were you on that hype train?
No. I think tall women are great.
No, that's what I'm saying. So it's
Oh,
within
it's
your
like a
character,
it's
you've
like
been one of
something.
those freaks. Yeah, are you into like giantess porn, August?
No comment.
Alright.
Bam.
Alright, hybrid theory. How do we feel about this shit?
Oh, are people in the chat? No one. Anyway, let's start.
No, just aim on star.
Yeah, let's start it. Okay, so let me play these songs as we go along. Give me a second. Paper Cut.
We're going through each song individually?
Some will skip, but I feel like this album is good enough that it deserves it. And well, I don't know. I love this album. I think
Interesting.
it starts perfectly. How do you feel about Paper Cut?
Paper Cut's a classic. Hybrid Theory overall, I'm pretty sure this is like the I don't know the fucking number, but this was like the last like album to come out and do like crazy sales as far as physical sales. Like it sold like 10 million copies or something like insane like that, like really fucking quick. And I like this album a lot. I don't know. I don't know how we're supposed to talk about these right now in this like tier list thing. I do think that this sort of sound was expanded upon and done a lot better on the projects like Meteora later. But overall, Hybrid Theory, I think it really captures like that angst that they're all about really fucking well. And Paper Cut's a great kickoff to the record.
Yeah, I think we'll get to this, but I feel like there are differences between Meteora and Hybrid Theory that
For sure.
I'll talk about when we get to that album. But you're right, this album is definitely, it's angsty, and it's very immature. Which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But like Crawling, that song, like it just gets to it, there's no real build up, it's just crawling, and it's so immature. But I also think that's a great quality. I think there's something awesome about that.
We need immature music when we just want to act like an idiot sometimes. And this is great music for that.
Yes, but I think I also don't take Linkin Park very seriously personally, and to me it's very colorful music, and I think that's all over this record. Even though all their albums are like have a gray cover, there's so much color here. Like the way that With You starts, like there's these like really standout sounds, and Runaway as well, and Cure for the Itch. Who joined? Hello, Steven.
Oh, hello, subscribers of Crappy Mix. I have a very important message for you. Can they hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
That's nuts. Okay, 1 second. T-Series is the most popular
Stop.
media conglomerate.
Get out of here, you fucker. That was Steven. No, I don't. I think I like this album more than you. I mean, how do you feel about One Step Closer? I think that's that's
One Step Closer is probably my favorite song on the record. You know, I think like his like screams of like "shut up" are like so addicting and great.
Yeah.
But going back to Paper a little bit,
Yeah.
I think the chorus and like the hook of that track, something that like I think this album does so well is it's so like it defines like their sound and what they're about like so immediately. Like Paper Cut like just sounds like default Linkin Park, and it's like the first track on their first record. And I think the fact that like out the gate they're able to like define themselves to such like a ridiculous extent, and they sound like, at least to my knowledge, nothing really else out at that time. I think really speaks to just kind of how they were at the right place at the right time, and that's why this album was so crazy successful.
I think they make very like studio music in my mind. Like a lot of other like rock bands around this time, like it's the drumming or like things like that you think of when you think rock. Linkin Park, the drums couldn't matter less, you know? Like it's not an important part of this band, I don't think. It's all these different noises coming together to make these angst.
I wouldn't say it's not important, but I do think like the angst and the the scratches of like the sound.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just all these different
really
qualities
coming
together. And you're right, it is all there on Paper Cut. And it's to me, it's very impatient music. Like it is very poppy, and it just gets to it. And I love that. And I think Paper Cut, the sun goes down part, really elevates the song. Like that makes it even better.
It's dope as fuck.
It is, and I feel like that's something that is on this album. This structure where there's a bigger part towards the end that I don't think that the other albums really have much of. So that's something I feel like this album has that makes it more exciting in terms of just having a raw dynamic all the time.
I don't know. I think I won't say all, but I think most of their albums, even like some of the lesser ones, I think have pretty well defined like structures and like soundscapes that stick very well to their own like concept. So I wouldn't highlight Hybrid Theory just for that specifically.
No.
Although like there is like a clearly defined sound from start to end here.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like when after this album they became more like confident, I guess. But here there's a lot of impatient like, let's do this as fast as possible, and I love that. That's my aesthetic. I love that kind of thing. I think that's
really cool.
Yeah.
And I get that, and that does make sense, that impatience, because this is the record that is most like explicitly nu metal. Whereas like I think like after Meteora they start to delve into like more like alternative rock and like pop rock to an extent on records like Living Things. They sort of abandoned that nu metal quality like pretty quickly. But I guess that does explain like why it's like impatient is a good word for it. A song like Runaway like especially like comes to mind with that.
Yeah, definitely. And then Cure for the Itch, which is kind of the last song I want to talk about here, is great. It's just not angsty at all. It's just like a cool sonic thing. It's really charming. And they do a similar thing with a Session on Meteora. Yeah.
I think Session's a bit cooler, because granted, I love that album just like a lot more than this. But yeah, no, I agree though, and I like the little like interludes that they do towards the end of these. Yeah, I like Hybrid Theory a lot. I don't listen to it super often, but it's like undeniably like it's solid, it's consistent.
Yeah.
And it's just a really cool like moment in culture that like that something like this was just as like enormous as it was. On a personal list, I'd give it like a B tier because there are records that I like more.
Wow.
But it's solid.
That's crazy. For me, it's an easy fucking S tier. I don't know. I think that's crazy, but that's interesting.
Interesting. Well, I only have one S tier, and that's we'll get to that a bit later, actually. But yes,
One more light. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'll just say now, Meteora used to be my favorite. It was forever, but I've changed it. Hybrid Fury, I think, is the best one. I think it's the most colorful album, most exciting listen.
Interesting.
I fucking love it. I didn't really before, but I think it rules.
That's I don't understand that for a second.
Really?
Meteora has been since day one, and it will forever be like my favorite Linkin Park album, I think.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm a bit more drawn to I guess like I don't want to say like their ballad stuff, but like they're more like a bit more like over dramatic and like a little bit more like sentimental of a sound, which is why I'm more partial to a couple of the later albums compared to just like the pure like angst of a Hybrid Theory. But if that's your sound, that makes sense to why you put it in S tier.
I get you, because I think I used to be there as well. I think when it came to Linkin Park, when I got into them as a teenager, I really connected with it. I think at this point, I'm not there on an emotional level anymore, so I just like the album that's like the most impatient, the most like just going for it. Yeah, I'll put it in A, so it's an in between. What we think.
Hell yeah.
Then they made Reanimation, which I listened to a bit of. I did not care enough to listen to all of this.
This is the only album here I've not listened to all the way through either.
Okay, right, because there's one of them where there's a rap feature. I think it's Motion Man, and he's like, the lyrics are just like, and now I'm on a Linkin Park song, and it's like, what is this shit? I don't want to hear this. And yeah, I don't know. It's not.
I have literally no thoughts on Reanimation. I haven't, and the one attempt I did try to get through it with was like 2 years ago. So I have no thoughts on this.
It's very long too.
What's the fucking runtime on this? Just over an hour.
Yeah. All right. Fuck it. Where does it go? D tier? Linkin Penis Park tier?
You can put it wherever.
Okay, I'll put it in D. Let's talk about Meteora, baby. I would say
This is
their best
yeah.
album. I do think in a lot of ways, as a band and where they were at this time, of course this is awesome. How do you feel about the first song?
Forward.
Don't Stay. Okay, I guess Forward is kind of like an intro.
Don't Stay. I was driving around Providence at the time. I had a friend who recommended me this album, and I had never actively listened to Linkin Park ever. And I was 18 at the time, and I threw on Meteora just while I was driving, and I'll never forget, like, I was just so instantly in love with the sound of this record. Don't Stay is like one of my favorite openings to any album I've ever heard, really. And I think in a lot of ways it just lays out like the groundwork for like the lyrical themes and ideas that are explored all throughout Meteora. I think they're much better and much more accomplished songwriters on Meteora, tapping into a bit of a more vulnerable state of, whereas I like Hybrid Theory is more just like angst and anger. I think, Meteora comes from a place of like insecurity that still feels like sincere, about, like being like a loser to an extent, like feeling like you don't fit in, trying to, just like, find yourself in this like in whatever context it is that you feel othered in. And Don't Stay opens up the record so fucking well. I think Chester's, like, his vocals on here especially is one of my favorites he's ever done.
Yeah.
I think the progression of this song is so fucking cool. I love Don't Stay. It's one of my favorite Linkin Park songs.
Wow. That's interesting. I would say this is the most Hybrid Fury song on Meteora. Like, it's the heaviest song, I would say.
I think Lying From You and Hit the Floor are a bit heavier, I think.
Okay, I guess at parts, but like, I don't know, just the overall vibe. But yeah, I agree. Great song. Really cool way to open it. And I don't know, it's just like, obviously that Linkin Park fans who like Hybrid Theory are gonna connect to this album immediately. So they're making a safe album with this album, but it's really good. It's very refined. I feel like that was very backhanded what I just said, but I agree.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Somewhere I Belong.
Yeah, and then then it goes into the track like Somewhere I Belong, which like I was just saying elaborates on the ideas that are being explored in this album, but in a much more, I guess, I don't want to say softer, although like it clearly like it's nowhere near as heavy. But I guess vulnerable is the word I would use for a lot of the content on this album, and I think the performance is just very convincing all around from Chester and Shinoda. Even though at his best, like Shinoda, like his lyrics are still like ridiculous.
They're very
but Somewhere I Belong,
they're very obvious.
yes.
But
Somewhere I Belong is another one of my favorites.
Yeah, I would say I agree completely. There is something more vulnerable here, more internal than Hybrid Fury, especially on this song and on a later song, Breaking the Habit. I would say these two songs are like the most well-written songs in the album.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful, and yeah, I this is one of those I still connect to.
It's close to something real.
Yes. God, yes. But it's a great song, and the sample at the start, the reversed, whatever it is, great. Like, just, I love those details from Linkin Park. It's just those small things at the start of a song, or at the end of a song, that just gives it that extra thing.
I agree, and but I think even like with the ending of Don't Stay, it's like loud, it's very aggressive, and then like it very quickly transitions into like much more comparatively peaceful opening of Somewhere I Belong, and I think the record pulls this off perfectly. I think this is like a flawlessly sequenced album. I've listened to this thing front to back like 100 times. I don't skip any track. I never have an issue with like its length or its sequencing or its flow. I think it's just like phenomenally constructed. And then but Somewhere I Belong comes smack in between I think what are the two hardest like bangers on the album. Well, and Numb at the end, of course. But Lying From You is another one of my favorites. I think this song just goes fucking stupid. I think it goes so hard.
Yeah.
When he screams like the very worst part of you, like that's like one more of like my favorite like just vocal performances from Chester ever. Like I don't know, like, he's really giving it his all, and you can like feel it in these songs.
From his soul.
It's great.
I agree. On Hybrid Fury, it's
he believes this shit.
He's screaming on that first record, but yeah, here he's very soulful, very.
It's a lot more guttural is the word I would use.
I don't know. I think there are a few tracks. I don't love Hit the Floor. Do you like this track?
I do like Hit the Floor. I know it's like considered like one of the lesser tracks on here.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I think so.
It's a very short one. It might be the shortest song on the album.
I like the beat a lot. And I think Hit the Floor is pretty catchy.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say.
I wouldn't say it's a favorite of mine, but I've listened to it like a lot of times over the past couple of years, and I've never gotten sick of it.
Yeah, and again, Chester's vocals just elevate.
Yeah, yeah. Easier to Run, Faint, Figure 9, all great.
Yeah, Faint is not like it's not one I connect on an emotional level. It just goes hard, like that string sample.
It does.
Iconic. It's a great song.
I can't wait.
Also,
it's so good.
Music video.
I haven't seen the video for Faint.
Wow, you cray.
Yeah. Then there's Breaking the Habit, which I think I don't think there's a single Linkin Park fan who will speak negatively towards this track.
No.
This is, I think, pretty like easily in contention for their best song.
It's just the most convincing one, I feel, because I've always felt this way.
I agree.
There's a point where, like, I think most Linkin Park fans can agree here, where it's like the band is quite hated in some areas, so it's like, oh, it's immature if you like that music. So I definitely have had points where I've gone away from the band, and it's too immature for me. But this song, throughout all of that, has always been great. Like, it's always hit. Yeah, it's beautiful and heartbreaking. And
it is, and I think especially like if you're in the kind of like mindset that where you would be like relating to like the content of this song, like more than usual. Like of course, like this sound and its like progression and just how like authentic and genuine it feels. Like it's going to resonate with you.
Yeah.
Which is why I think this song has remained, like so popular amongst like the Linkin Park fandom, and also just like in culture, I hear this song like out. I don't hear this song out, but I know this remains like a very popular song. And it's easy to see why.
Yeah, 100%. And this is kind of the case with a lot of Linkin Park, but even though like you can easily interpret it as like a drug-related thing, like a drug addiction, it's also just a very general thing anyone can relate to, like breaking the habit. Yeah, I want to stop this kind of thing happening in my life, So,
no, like literally, that was something I spoke to you about when I think I first ever brought up Linkin Park and Meteora to you. Is like Meteora came to me at a time when I was like at the height of my like gender identity crisis, and this album speaks in very general terms. To where I think a lot of people can sort of project onto it what they want to get out of it. And I'm listening to these songs, about, trying to find, somewhere you belong, and just like general insecurities and themes of the life. And, listening to an album like this that was just as like direct as it was, while also just being general enough to where I could just like relate it to whatever the fuck I was in my head about at that time. It just really spoke to me, and that's why it was like immediately one of my favorite records. And I imagine for a lot of people with a lot of issues, whether it is addiction, or listening to songs like Breaking the Habit, or whatever it is they're going through, I don't know. I think this album, I don't know. I think it's a very powerful statement, even if it is like just very general.
Yeah. Which is why Linkin Park is so popular, I would imagine. Like, they're insanely popular.
So. They are.
Probably his death helped them a bit, I would say.
They're charting, like really well right now with a dead frontman and a very controversial replacement.
Yeah.
Like, they are a popular fucking band.
How do you feel about From the Inside?
From the Inside is pretty cool. It's probably my least favorite on the record. I think it's the only one that I've never gone to start listening to Meteora with. I always just kind of like get there when I'm listening to the album.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. I'm a bit more fond of Nobody's Listening, which has just like a ridiculous beat that I love. I like this song more every time I listen to it. I used to not like this song at all.
Same.
But I really love the sound it like presents now. I think Nobody's Listening is pretty cool.
Yeah, because Mike totally takes charge, but there's a great contrast when Chester's vocals come in. Like, there's such a fun beat, and then Chester's screaming. It's really fun, and it's great sample.
It is fun. Oh yeah.
Session.
And then you once told me that Session was your favorite track on the album.
Here's the thing. I've had different phases with Linkin Park, and there was a phase where I kind of stopped listening, not in a hater way, just I stopped listening, and I owned Matrix Reloaded on CD, where this song features. So I would play this in my mom's car a lot, and it just goes hard. And I see, in the context of the album, it's not one you would get much out of beyond just it being really cool. But it is just really cool. I don't think it's as good as Breaking the Habit or maybe some other ones, but I fucking love this song, and I think just sonically, very industrial, very I don't know, just cool. I love the drums, and I don't know, just has like dreamy kind of layers.
I agree with that. It is like very layered for being as kind of like simultaneously like stripped back as it is. And I think it works as bringing a little interlude into Numb, which is the best song ever.
We'll get to that. Let me just say, I think overall the second half of this album is better than the first because I think there are more interesting songs. To me, it's more exciting to listen to Breaking the Habit session than the first half. However, in my opinion, as good as Numb is, it's a safe fucking way to end the album. I like the song, but it feels like a single more than a one that really fits at the end here.
I
Call me crazy.
don't know if I agree with that. I think it's a really good cap for the album, not just like sonically, but in terms of just like, you know, like it as a piece lyrically. It is of course, you know, like one of the more obvious like anthems, you know, that appeals to like a pop crowd.
Yeah.
You know,
Stadium
here,
rock.
but I the album well. Yeah. But also I think that it works as a good bridge into Minutes to Midnight, which I think really goes to embrace that stadium sound a lot more.
At times,
Which is why
yeah.
Yeah, well, at times, yes.
But it's a great
But
song.
I guess, yeah. But also, I'm not gonna ever complain about an album ending with like a 10 out of 10 song.
That's fair. I think I love the song, but I do think it's a little too tasteful for me. Anyway.
I get that, and I understand and agree to an extent that like the second half of this album is a lot riskier. But like, if I'm gonna pick like the A side or the B side, I'm going with like the opening of the record because like it's just like nonstop bangers for me. The run from Don't Stay to Hit the Floor, honestly, like I could listen to that all the fucking time.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Now I know your Meteora takes. I'll put this one in the goat
Meteora. If I had to put that, Meteora is like somewhere in my top like 40 albums like of all time. Like I love it so much.
Top 40.
I love this record a lot.
Yeah. No, I'm just wondering what the fuck else would you have up there? Bob Dylan.
We don't have to talk about Bob right now.
Really? We're not going to tier list
But if you want
to after this?
If we want to compare Meteora to Time Out of Mind, yes, Time Out of Mind is a better record.
You're like a Rolling Stone. All right, let's do Minutes to Midnight.
What? No, I think you're skipping one.
Oh, I am. Sorry. There's an EP.
Yeah, Collision Course. This shit sucks.
Let's take a moment to appreciate JC for a second. I did not listen to this.
He's in the news today. No, I don't think so.
It's not?
Oh wait, it's gone now.
Fuck, it's probably been gone for a while. No, it's back.
Eamon just said, "Where's Stream go?" The shit went down.
It's back, asshole. It's good that no one's watching, so they know this is happening. No, I was just gonna say I've always preferred the original Nom. To this. Like, it's cool.
Oh yeah,
it's fun, but I don't care. Who's JC?
I don't even think it. I don't know. This is like, from what I understand, is like one of the more popular mashup albums like ever made, and I don't understand it. I don't think they're like a good mix together. I know like at live shows, you know, Mike Shinoda has started to like rap of the Jay-Z verses along to Numb. I don't understand why he does that. I don't like. It's cool in the opening of Miami Vice, but other than that, I think this shit is stupid. And like, I don't know. Like, I do like some of these Jay-Z songs, but like, you know, like Big Pimpin' is one of the worst fucking hip hop songs like ever, and like it's the worst song to ever land on a Linkin Park album. I don't know why that's here and why they put it alongside Paper Cut.
Oh, this is terrible. I love this. I need to use this in a movie. This is so bad.
If I was Chester, I would have killed myself the moment the Big Pimpin' came out.
What a tasteful comment, Tay. This is terrible. Wait, Miami Vice, is that the Michael Mann movie that's also terrible?
No, that's a good film.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let's talk about Minutes to Midnight. I'm putting this JC thing in Linkin Penis Park.
I would put it. I don't think it's like irredeemable or anything, but just because of the news with Jay-Z, like yeah, put it in Lincoln Venus Park.
Yeah. All right, then we got Minutes to Midnight. It opens with a track called Wake. Synthy, vinyl scratching sounds open, and then a guitar. Not long enough. Not long enough. But it's a cool opener. How do you feel?
I think it outstays its welcome a little bit.
What? It's like twice as short as it should be. Not the guitar part. You mean the other parts, right?
I mean, the guitar is cool, but I'm just so eager to get to Given Up. I don't know.
I am too. I just feel like they could have combined those better. It's an okay opening. Given Up is great.
It's true. I think the sequencing on this album is a bit of an issue. I think it's this might be their worst sequenced album in my opinion. I think it's like fucking all over the place sonically, even though I do like a lot of these songs. But this is an album that for whatever reason, when I first got into Linkin Park a couple years ago, I didn't really give it too much time of day. I wasn't super interested by it on my first couple listens. But I've listened to it a lot lately to prepare for this stream, and I've come out with really positive feelings about a lot of these songs individually, even if I think like as like an album it sounds more like a Linkin Park like compilation than it does like a cohesive record.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's, like sonically, I would say. Lyrically, I actually think this is a really interesting direction for the band to go in, because lyrically I think this is their most like depressing and like hopeless record. I think even opening up with a song like Given Up, where the song is about like why even bother fucking trying anymore, like if Meteora was like the cry for help, I think a song like Given Up is just saying like fuck it, like that stage is done, like why even like try anymore. And I don't know. It's clear that Chester was going through a lot when he wrote some of these songs, and I'm struck by the emotion of this album oftentimes, even if some of like its sentiments, on songs like Handheld High later are like, why is this here? Where did this come from? This is bad. But like, I don't know.
Given Up is very compelling.
Yeah.
And his vocal performance. The part where it keeps going, like put me out of my misery, and the vocal goes into the next vocal. He can almost do that live. Yeah. He can. I've seen live performances where it's almost perfect, and it's fucking insane. It's a great fucking. I think it might be my favorite vocal performance from him. This is insane to me.
Really?
It's up there. He's awesome on this song. However, you were saying earlier that sonically the album is all over the place. I think it's just bad sonically on every song. Rick Rubin did this album, and you can tell. It sounds really bad, and it doesn't have a punch to it at all. Like every song it's just like the guitar has nothing going on often, like no distortion like the earlier albums, and it's really boring to listen to, I think.
I don't know. I said earlier that I'm a bit more drawn, just like in general, not just Linkin Park, but just like generally my aesthetics. Like I do like like a more like poppy like rock or like a pop metal sound, just like in general, which I know is like kind of shit upon by like a lot of people who are like into music. But I like that aesthetic, and I'm not sure that it goes super well with some of the content on this album, but like I said with Numb, it's like fully embracing like that like stadium, like more like anthemic sound.
Uh-huh.
I think it's an admirable I don't know if admirable is the right word, but I think it's like a more natural direction for them to go into within for the next album here, Minutes to Midnight. But I agree that like it's nowhere near as punchy. It's nowhere near as like impactful as really any moment off of Meteora or even Hybrid Theory.
Yeah, I mean,
Even though there are songs on here that like songs like What I've Done that I think are just absolutely stunning.
we'll get to that. I want to say one thing.
Yeah.
I definitely think Linkin Park needed to go to a new direction because, as much as I love Meteora, it is another Hybrid Theory, refined, better, doing more experiments. So whatever, but they need to do something new. I do think this album is, and maybe it's dumb to call Linkin Park pretentious, but it's a bit serious, and it's a bit like, oh, we need to be a serious band, and I feel like all those colorful flavors that I love about those two albums are not here, really. And it's these, like, songs that are so overlong, like Shadow of the Day. I've never listened to this song and liked it. Have you?
I'm gonna skim through this so I can remember which song this is real quick.
That's what I'm saying. This is the one that's in Transformers,
Yeah.
That's so boring.
No, that one's What I've Done.
No.
What I've Done is the ending of Transformers.
No. Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of a song from the third Transformers, which is similar to Shadow of the Day, but it's on 1,000 Suns, and we'll get to that. But, yeah, this song bores the fuck out of me. And other songs too, Hands Held High, like you said, terrible. Valentine's Day is, like, the most boring elevator
Hands Held Held High is interesting to me because, well, it's a terrible song.
Yeah.
But you know,
it sounds like Coldplay. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, to an extent. I don't know. What I've Done is a song that I've really fallen in love with lately.
Yeah.
Like begging for forgiveness when like you've like fucked up so bad and you're not gonna get that forgiveness. I think it's like the concept of that song is and the way it's like performed and like sold. Like I love the performance of it. I feel I get wrapped up in it every time. I think like there's like a bit of like a narrative between these two songs, from going from What I've Done directly into Hands Held High. About like picking yourself like back up after something like that. I think it's an interesting like placement on the record for here. I'm like, okay, they're trying to like, get something across here, but whatever that is, like, it's not super deep. But it was like nothing in Linkin Park is deep, obviously. But I like there's clearly some like attempt at like juxtaposing these two like ideas in the middle of the album here. But how successful it is, I don't really think I don't think it's too successful. Getting that point across, whatever it is they were doing there.
Yeah.
I guess as far as like a piece of, as like part of like the narrative of the album, like to an extent, I think it's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. That's giving a lot of credit to this album, I think. I think, like I was saying earlier, when it comes to like them choosing a new voice, like you can tell certain things they're doing here they're gonna do like much better on other albums like 1,000 Suns. Like just these small atmospheric things like on Wake, or I don't know, there's some other stuff like Leave Out All the Rest. Like the opening of that song is quite like soft synths that are kind of nice. All those ideas don't go anywhere in my opinion on this album. Like it's a fucking mess and it's boring, but certain songs are good.
It is a mess, but like like certain songs in a vacuum, like No More Sorrow, I think like that song actually hits really hard comparatively to like a lot of what's on here. I think like it's that song's just like a simple banger that's a bit more in tune with like their previous records more than a lot of what else is here. But it is embracing more. It's embracing more of that stadium sound that they're trying to define on here, and I think that's a highlight.
I think if the whole album was like that, I would like this album a lot. Bleed It Out as well. Classic.
Bleed It Out is great.
It's wonderful. And Leave Out All the Rest is like soft, but it's still in that pop rock context, so I think it works really well.
I don't like Leave Out All the Rest that much.
Really? I think that's the one on an emotional level that I've always connected to the most. Maybe not anymore, but I've always liked this song. I think it's good. In Between is.
How do you feel about
boring.
Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day, it's okay. It sounds terrible sonically. It's so ugly.
It does.
I can't believe it. And I think Where It Goes is so contrived. On a Valentine's Day. Like, fuck off. It's so boring. In Between is even more boring, I think.
In Between's okay. I don't have a lot of. This is interesting because every time I've listened to this album over the past couple weeks, I've had mostly very positive feelings towards it. But I'm looking at the track list right now, and I'm trying to figure out what like the main highlights for me are, and there aren't that many. There's Given Up, there's Bleed It Out, What I've Done, No More Sorrow, and across the line, I would say.
I like In Pieces. It's not great, but I don't know. It's pretty good in my opinion.
I like the guitar in Pieces, especially like towards the end.
Yeah. I think it's satisfying.
Yeah.
Little things give you away over long, but I don't hate it. It's fine.
Too fucking long.
I'm putting this in C tier. Boy,
I would have given it a B, but a C is fine.
Yeah, I used to like only like the first two albums, like when I was younger, and then I think this was my third favorite album, just because it had those bangers on it. But after I've really gone through all of their stuff, I think this is a bad Linkin Park album, and I don't really think it works. And here's another detail. Did you know that for every one of their albums, they do like 150 songs and only choose the good ones? Could you imagine making 150 songs and then you put these songs on there? I think that's shocking.
Hands Held High making the cut is like crazy for that.
Yeah. Not a good album, but maybe good. I don't care. 1,000 Suns. This is one that people like. I saw a YouTube video where someone called it Linkin Park's Kid A, which made me laugh quite a lot. Not because I like Kid A, but it's just a funny comparison.
So
it's a concept album. You go.
Well, it is a concept album, I guess, but also I don't really give a shit because it's Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna take them like too seriously outside of just like like the immediate like emotion that I'm getting like from like individual songs or just songs that like follow each other like sequentially. Like if there's like a story going on here, I don't know and I don't care. I have always just loved this album just purely for its soundscape. I don't think it's I love the little kind of visual you've made here.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I actually don't. I don't know if I can like this thing. I've never listened to this album and like picked out like what my favorite songs are. I've always just let it run from beginning to end.
That's not.
And
how I feel.
think
interesting.
Well, I'm sure I could pick out like each song if I heard them, but like I've never. I don't know. I've always just like let it run through because this album is like all over the place and it has a lot of like. Like new sonic ideas for the band. They're going in all these different directions, and I think just as just like a collection of just like sounds and ideas, this record is really interesting, and I think it's one of their cooler albums for that reason.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the right direction to go, and it's a tasteful direction while also being like new and exciting. It bores me in places, I have to say, but overall, I think it's pretty good. I'm gonna go to my favorite songs if you don't really have any. I think When They Come For Me is awesome. I think that's a really fun track.
Play that one real quick.
You're gonna have to wait.
I want to just also say this is my favorite Linkin Park album cover, like by far.
I was just gonna say it's the most boring one. I think all their covers suck.
I like that song. All their covers aren't great. The one for Living Things is ridiculous.
I think, yeah, it is. But if that one was like blue or something, like if you add a bit of color, it would fit that sound. But I don't think gray.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I take it back. This isn't my favorite cover. My favorite cover is One More Light, but
I guess so. Well, whatever. Anyway, When They Come For Me, I think is really fun. Waiting for the End is pretty good. Blackout is by far the best song, in my opinion.
Blackout is dope as fuck.
This is one of his best vocal performances, I think. No, you better push it back down. Great. But also, I don't think it's an entirely successful song, but it is one of their most progressive songs. Because there's that middle part where it breaks down, and then it just like, they just remix his voice a lot and sample it, and it becomes...
It's sick as fuck.
It's... When I heard it the first time, I thought it was embarrassing, but I do like it now, and then it sort of breaks down and becomes its own little song at the end. So it's just like a journey. I wish they extended it and made it even longer at the end, but it's a really good song.
I would love to hear a remixed version of this album because, like I said, like I think that breakup is emblematic of like all these like new ideas that they're like aiming for.
Yeah.
On this record, if you say that like Meteora is like I guess like safe compared to Hybrid Theory, and even like to some extent Minutes to Midnight is a bit of a safe album too. Just going for like a more stadium sound. I think this is like their most. I don't think this is like too much of a safe record at all. Because like they are just like taking a lot of like kind of crazy swings on it from here to there.
Yeah, but also that thing earlier of like the band being impatient. This is not an impatient album. Songs like Waiting for the End or Blackout have these extended intros. You have to like get yourself into and sort of get into the vibe of it. And that's cool.
Agree.
Wretches and Kings is pretty good. I really like this interlude, Wisdom, Justice, and Love. I think this is a very immersive and sad song. It's the one where there's that guy who's like, what does he say? He's like, cannot be, what does it say? What,
oh, yes.
I think the atmosphere is really good, and I don't like the next track, but I think these two tracks together is really good structuring, and it gets you into that emotional space. The next track is Iridescent. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Iridescent.
That's right, Iridescent. This is the song that's in Dark of the Moon, and it does not fit that movie at all. It's crazy that Michael Bay went with this song. He listened to this album and was like, that's the song I need.
I'm bummed that New Divide isn't on this album.
Oh, did they make that at the same time? That does not fit on this album.
I think it'd be funny if it was here though. But yeah, that was for Revenge of the Fallen. I want to shout out The Catalyst. I like that song a lot.
This is my problem with this album, a little bit, is that this is a repeat of an earlier song, Burning in the Skies, right? It's like the same lyrics. I don't like when albums do that generally. I find it pretentious, and like not deep at all. Like I think it's trying to be epic when it's doing that, but it's such a simple song, and I just don't think it's exciting.
Do you feel that way about Here Comes the Sun and Sun King?
Well, I think that's different because it's not like at the end of the album. Also, fuck the Beatles. I do feel that way about Sgt. Pepper, the way that it repeats it. It did not earn that at all.
I think it's one of the better tracks on that record, so it's okay.
We'll do the Beatles tier list after the Bob Dylan one. The Messenger is a cute track. Yeah, it's a pretty good album. I'll put it in D tier.
Every time I listen to it, I want to say like A, but I'm not as familiar with it, and I don't listen to it super often. With that said, like this is the only album here that I don't, of their studio albums, I think this is the one I'm actually the least familiar with, even though I do have a good time with it every time I put it on. So I guess I'd give it a B for that reason.
Yeah, I'm putting it at B. It's a good album for them at this time, but for what I'm looking for in Linkin Park, this is not really like what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like fast pop rock bangers, This isn't that, but it's still fun. Let's talk about the underrated album that is Living Things.
I think Living Things is like almost like the like definitive Linkin Park album that like defines their sound across like their entire career.
Yes. Yeah.
Because as compared to Thousand Suns, it is a bit more of like a return to form with songs like Lies Breed Misery, and Victimized. But also they are, like it is also just like blatantly like way more pop than I think they've ever been before. But on songs like Burn It Down, for example, I think like that nails like that sort of stadium anthemic sound better than most of Minutes to Midnight ever could dream of doing.
Yes, that's like a perfect pop song.
Yeah, Burn It Down sounds like exactly what Linkin Park should have been doing in 2012.
Yeah, I mean, okay, here's the thing. You're saying this one is more pop. I agree, but I feel like...
At points.
Yes. Well, it's a much more electronic album than the other ones before this, which that's a progression they made slowly, right? But it also has punch. This album it sounds so good. I love synthy punch, and this one fucking nails it. I love the opener. I think that's my favorite one, Lost in the Echo. It's not like...
Lost in the Echo goes so hard.
Here's the thing. It's not going back to like Somewhere I Belong. Like that's just a great song, right? I wouldn't say this works on that level at all. This song works on a level that's like, let me just put something hype on. And this just gets that immediately. Like it just fucking goes for it, and it's awesome. And
Look, I agree. I think this is like alongside, I don't think it's nearly as consistent or even just like as good as Meteora, but I think I would compare it to Meteora as far as just like it's an incredibly easy album to just like put on and vibe to. Lost in the Echo is like immediately gripping and just hype. Like you were just saying. I think Mike's rapping on a song like this is also just like it's just like instantly attractive. He sounds even like a bit more confident on this song especially.
He's definitely got better and better.
He did. Yeah, but Lost in the Echo is a favorite of mine, and then it goes into In My Remains, which is one of my favorite Linkin Park songs. I think that song is definitely like over dramatic and like silly at times, but like I think the band pulls it off well. Even with like the Like an Army following one by one, a little breakdown towards the end. I think this is a song that just builds on itself repeatedly in ways that I don't know. I get excited to listen to it every time.
It's very melodic. Like at the end when it breaks down and then it goes up again, and they're just repeating Like an Army Falling. It's great.
Oh yeah.
And again, it's very much just getting into it. Right as Lost in the Echo ends, immediately this song starts. And same with Burn It Down, of course.
The first 2 seconds of this song are I'm immediately into it, and that's something that that they do super well all the time.
Yeah, and this is going back to what the first 2 albums do so well. There's always this thing at the opening, these great samples, these great sounds that Mike is just playing around with. That's why on this image that I'm using on the stream, it's just an image of Mike on a synth keyboard, whatever.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good songs. Castle of Glass. It's like folk inspired.
Yeah, as far as the slower ballads go, I think Castle of Glass is fucking stellar.
Yeah, and it's I think it's different than other tracks here because it mostly just defines what it wants to be and just continues that. Whereas other songs are more like up and down, hype. So it's just a really solid song that works on an emotional level. It's great. Victimized, like you said, more back to that early Victimized. It's good.
I don't love the placement of it right after Castle of Glass. I think it's always a little bit jarring. I also think Victimized could have given itself more time to flesh itself out because it is a really short song.
I agree.
But it's in a vacuum, it's still cool. But the next one I'm not too interested in Rose and Travel, but I think Skin to Bone is just a super fun song.
That's crazy. I feel like Rose and Travel, I don't give 2 shits about the lyrics or anything, but the sample, the sounds of this one, it sounds awesome. Do you not think so?
I mean, it's cool. It's just never been a favorite of mine.
Yeah. Skin to Bone, I need to remind myself.
I think it's a little too slow, especially coming right after like Victimize. I think if Rose Untraveled was like closer to Castle of Glass, I'd like it more. But I think like throwing Victimize in between those two songs kind of fucks up the flow of the record.
I think that's where me and you differ, because I like those contrasts so much in music. But I get you. Skin to Bone is pretty good. Even though I like Roads Untraveled, I definitely like the second half of this album less than the first half. To me, the energy is lesser.
Once again, I don't know if I agree. I think I prefer. And maybe I'm just like being like simple here and a bit shallow, but like I like just how like easy to digest and just fun. I think like the first half of this record is like the first 3 tracks, especially Lost in the Echo and My Remains Burn It Down. It's like one of their best runs like ever.
Yeah, I agree. Until It Breaks has some really cringy rapping from Mike.
Yeah, that one's not a favorite.
He quotes Big Papa a few times.
He does do that.
And then Tinfoil Paulus.
Being the session head you are, I know you like Tinfoil.
Huh?
You like these like interludes towards the end of their albums, and I want to know how you feel about Tinfoil.
I like it. I think by this point, I feel like the album is not really doing enough in the second half, that I feel like it's really justified. Not to have Tinfoil, but just Powerless in general. As much as I love the sound of this album, I do think it needed to do a little more to go over that finish line to be like a great album. I think it's a pretty good album, and it's one I enjoy a lot. But I don't... Same with Roads Untraveled and Powerless. Like, both of those songs, I don't connect to in the way that I wish I did. But yeah, I like the interlude a lot. How do you feel?
Hell yeah. I like it. Once again, I agree with you that like I don't think it's fully necessary or like earned here when it's because I don't know if this album is like busy enough. I think it is just a lot simpler than a lot of their previous records. Like it's like I don't know, like compared to like 1,000 Songs, I think this is just a lot more like easy to digest. But I like it. There isn't a single song here that I would say I dislike, even if songs like Roads Untraveled aren't super interesting to me. But as far as just like a fun, breezy listen, I put this one on quite often.
Yeah.
And I have some good memories with a lot of these songs, and I would comfortably put it in the A tier as far as Linkin Park.
I agree.
Because I think overall, like if you were like I said earlier, if you were like look at their career like as a whole and like boil it down to like one sound that like encapsulates like the most about them, I think it's probably this.
Yeah. And again, it's very underrated. The fucking sound is great in ways that I feel like, yeah, particularly Minutes to Midnight, just that it really takes me out of it how bad that album sounds. But this one is just so nice, so clean, so punchy, wonderful. You need to praise Recharged for like 2 hours now, though. Start.
Oh, I forgot about Recharged. Yeah.
A Light That Never Comes. What about?
Wait. You just cut out for a second. Sorry, what would you say?
A Light That Never Comes. What about it?
What about it? My God. I don't know. I think a lot of this album can be just boiled down to the Lost in the Echo remix, which is like it's really incredible that music is allowed to get this bad. And I wish more artists would have these official remix albums that are just fucking unlistenable, because it's really funny. I don't have any
right now.
Let's go. I think it's funny that like Pusha T has a verse on here for the I'll Be Gone remix. I don't know what he's doing on this.
Yeah, he does. That's awesome.
And he had the good enough time to come back for Good Goodbye.
Oh yeah, with Stormzy.
Yes. Yeah, they got one of the greatest rappers alive and put him on two just completely fucking dog shit songs. It's pretty great.
All right, Recharged. You go in the Linkin Penis Park tier.
Yes, it's terrible. It's completely unlistenable. But like, I wish more artists would release albums like this, like just because it's amusing.
I'm gonna go pee. So can you talk about Recharged for 5 more minutes?
I don't have anything to say about Recharged.
Just try.
God, Recharged is an album that is like, when did this come out? Yeah, 2013. It is like forever stuck in 2013. It's, you know, embracing all of these like ridiculous like EDM and dubstep tropes that are just like so like nauseating to try and digest now. But I can't imagine like this even like went over super well during that time because there were so many like other artists, you know, like a Skrillex or whatever, who have established this sound and that have expanded upon it in much better, funnier, not funnier, but just like they're much more committed to that sound, and they have made it a bit more digestible as compared to what they're doing on here, which it sounds just like completely thrown together. It's ridiculous. I get secondhand embarrassment listening to this album like by myself. But I think it's an interesting. I don't think it's not a very interesting album at all. But I don't know. I think it's. I think it's funny that they've tried to tap into this like fad of a genre and expanded upon it on this remix album that no one has listened to and no one cares about. It's forever stuck in its time period. It's really embarrassing, but it makes me giggle sometimes when I can put people onto it. So
I'm so happy.
I remember listening to it.
Sorry.
I remember the first time I tried to listen to it is I was on the Brown Line in Chicago, and you know I just had like my headphones on, you know, and I started playing this album, and I was so no one else could hear what I was listening to because I just had headphones on, but I was so embarrassed to be listening to it. I shut it off like very quickly because I was like, I can't be seen in public like listening to music that is like just this horrible out of just the curiosity that I have because of how much I like living things. But yeah, I don't know. None of these songs are done well whatsoever. I just forget if I've ever even finished this. The only song I remember fully is the Pusha T verse and the Lost in the Echo remix because that one is just too funny.
You were like praising. You were like, August, you have to listen to Recharged, and I thought you meant it. I was like, oh, I see. Is taste just this? Like bullshit.
No, I wanted you to listen to it because I wanted to waste your time.
But then I woke up one morning and I listened to that Lost in the Echo remix after like listening to Lost in the Echo like 5 times a day because I was like loving it. And then I put that on while in the shower and I was laughing to myself. Like, what's wrong with Tay? What's happening here? Yeah.
I like a lot of dog shit music, but Recharged is not in that category.
It's too cheesy.
Yeah. It's Linkin Penis Park.
Definitely. Let's talk about No Control! Drop the kids in the kingdom down there.
So, The Hunting Party is, I think, just like a super consistent album. I think it's their last album that I would say is like great.
Whoa. Your takes have changed completely.
I know. I like this along with Minutes to Midnight. I used to not really give any attention, and whereas Minutes to Midnight has some songs that I really love, and overall I think it's a fun listen. I don't think there's a single song on The Hunting Party that I would say I don't like enjoy, like at all. I think. I think they've really tapped into like, you know, like a harder sound here that just like works super well for them. I think, you know, even like a lot of the features they have on here, like getting a Rakim verse on Guilty All the Same, it goes over super well. I think Keys to the Kingdom is like one of their best openers. It's immediately like defining like, oh, like this is what they're going to be doing on this album. And I think, you know, just a lot of these songs are just like, they're just so fun. Even if there are like a lot of like repeated melodies on this album, like I think like, you know,
I was gonna
see all the same,
yes.
Wastelands of the Day,
yeah.
like it's like the same fucking melody.
It is.
But at the same time, it's like it's a great melody. And I know you were just shitting on when albums like repeat like lyrics or like little bits like later on through the album. I don't mind that at all. I think it's cool when records do that a lot of the time. And I think this is just a super easy album to listen to front to back. Final Masquerade is so fucking good. Until It's Gone goes hard. I love All for Nothing. That is I don't know.
My take is that the first two songs.
I think Mike's melody in All for Nothing is so fucking. The melody in All for Nothing is one of my favorite melodies they've ever done.
It's just fun, man.
It is.
Who's this Paige Hamilton? I like the vocals. Or is that Mike? I don't even know. It doesn't sound like Mike. But there's just something like robotic about the vocals almost. I don't know, it's fun.
It is very melodic.
Yeah, I said robotic, but yes, it's also melodic.
Oh. Robotic. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, just like the Transformers. Yeah, it's I don't know. For me, I like this in concept. They're going back to like that more rocky sound, and in a lot of ways, it's actually more heavy than the first two albums because
I think so too.
You can hear the drums. The drums are very apparent in this album, and there's just a lot of small moments where they're not scared at all of just going like just hamming it, and being like, rocky. But I think they miss out on good songs. I think they make simple, decent songs, but I wouldn't really call much stuff here like hits. That's my problem. And I listened to it a few times. I don't hate it. I think it's fine. I'm glad you enjoy it. I think that's it's a good take. It's respectable. Do you like the last song? That's a long song.
Oh.
Anyway, it's back. I thought we were gonna get more viewers than Eamon. God damn.
I think the I don't know. I think this is like their hardest hitting album sonically to me, as outside of Meteora. And I think like on songs like A Line in the Sand, or even something like War or Final Masquerade, Until It's Gone. I think too. It's like these are simple, and I don't latch onto them the way I do really any songs from Meteora. But just like I just like a sonic experience. I think this is super consistent. I listened to it like 4 or 5 times over at work the other night, just like familiarizing myself with these songs before this stream, and I did a complete 180 on it. And I think it just sounds good. Like even like little like the vocal effect that they would put on Chester on a song like Keys to the Kingdom, like it's immediately gripping. It's like, this is interesting, this sounds cool, and I like that they're still just doing shit like that.
I think they lose the plot a bit, and I think halfway through it sort of just becomes like Linkin Park to me. Like Until It's Gone is very like, I don't know, to me that's not really heavy. That's more just like going in that 1,000 Suns Minutes to Midnight direction that I don't like. That's not a rebuttal. That's just hating.
No. I get you.
Yeah.
It's definitely like more poppy than like a I don't know, All for Nothing or whatever. But like I still think it's like an impactful song that like I can like bang my head to and be like, oh yeah, this is fun. I like it.
Yeah. I'll put it in C.
I don't have a lot of like genuinely insightful things to say about a lot of this music, other than just like I like it goes hard. But like Linkin Park's not like a deep act or anything. But also along with Living Things, I would personally throw this an A.
Okay.
I'll just say once again, I like this more than Hybrid Theory.
That's such a cool take. Let's no, I respect it. What did it make after? Oh yeah, One More Light. Who cares about One More Light? I do. This is my favorite Imagine Dragons album. How do you feel about it?
One More Light.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really wish I could be more positive to it.
Same.
And I think I used to be more positive to it, but like re-listening to it over the past couple of days, a couple times, I've definitely waned on it a little bit. Because like like obviously what makes the best thing about this album is just its sentiment. Because like it's, and this is why I want to talk about the One More Light live album that I asked us to talk about, and I'll talk about that more in a bit. Actually, I think these are they're both very interconnected, but it's clear that, you know, despite how, like, we can be just objective, like, bad this music is, it's something that Chester really clearly believes in. I don't know. This is hard to talk about because like sonically, something like Nobody Can Save Me or like Sharp Edges or Good Goodbye, like these are, like, they just don't sound good. But like, you know, it's clear that he was grasping onto this sound and this sort of sentiment for, you know, his, you know, just like to hold on, you know, to just hope for life, you know, or I don't know how to put it, but like, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
I don't think, I don't know. I think, you know, like if you look at, you know, like a lot of reviews for this album or whatever, you know, people are just saying like they sold out and they're trying to, you know, make like these dumb pop hits, but like I don't think they would have done this if this wasn't something that, like, you know, Chester really wanted to do. And if you listen to the One More Night live performance, I think it's very clear that he had a lot of belief in this, like, you know, more, you know, poppy, like very like melodic, like just uplifting, empowering sound. You know, even songs like Crawling, you know, on that record, which are, you know, usually, you know, like the original studio version of Crawling is like, it's so loud, it's so aggressive. It's like this very slow, like, ballad in the vein of like a song like One More Light or No One Can Save Me. You know, like his screams on Burn It Down aren't like, you know, like raspy like they are. You know, it's very, it's like, I don't want to use the word like angelic, but like in some sense like it is. And I think I'm not going to project anything on. I don't know why, you know, he, you know, wanted to, you know, turn Linkin Park into a band that was exploring this sound so much, but it's something that he clearly believed in, and that if there's one thing I can give this album, it is like authenticity and, like, I guess to an extent, like, commitment to the bit. And I think proof of that is the fact that, like, a song like One More Light, like, happened, you know, like if they didn't care about this sound at all, then there would be no good songs on this album. But like there is one song, One More Light, that I think is fucking great, that I think is moving and is powerful. And I wish I felt more positively about a lot of these songs like I do for the title track. Unfortunately, I just don't. But I don't know. The sentiment of this album is something that I think is hard to overlook, even if, like, I don't like the production and I don't like these songs as music.
Yeah, I don't. For me, I've never found it, like, intolerable. Like, it's not unlistenable. It's just kind of boring. You know, similar to Living Things, this is also very synthetic, but it doesn't feel creative at all, and it feels like Mike Shinoda just doesn't really care about making it, like, interesting or fun in that same way. And yeah, at its best, it's just very mediocre. I enjoyed Talking to Myself. How do you feel about that song? I think it's...
Talking to Myself is okay.
Yeah.
I think they opened up the live album with that one, and I think it sounds better on the live performance than it does here. I think Battle Symphony is okay, although once again, I think, you know, I think, you know, being able to hear them, you know, do it live, I think it goes over better than it does on the record. But yeah, the only song I would say here that I really love is One More Light, which I find very moving.
Yeah.
You know, for the obvious reasons.
Yeah,
but,
a posthumous reason.
I love the album cover too. Like, I think it's just such a beautiful photograph that I think captures, you know, what this album is going for really well.
It's really
and I think it is, yeah. And I don't know. I this is one of the albums that's like, this is one of. I really wish I loved this album more than I wish I loved a lot of albums that I don't like. But, you know, I'm not going to sit here and, you know, say that I think this is great music when it's not.
Yeah. I agree.
But, you know, you can be diplomatic about it. I think saying like this is just like like a complete betrayal of everything Linkin Park stands for is ridiculous because like of course they should try and do something different after a while. I think like the attempt at what they're going for on this album is really cool, and I would have loved to have seen it done better, but I don't think it sticks the landing. But I would put this in C and the live album in at B. Just because I think hearing some of their older songs done in this very like pop aesthetic, they're doing songs like Crawling or Burn It Down in the One More Light
Fashion aesthetic.
I'm sorry, yeah, okay. In that aesthetic. I think
maybe I should.
I think you should because I'm just repeating myself with what I said earlier, but like you listen to the performances and like it's clear that like this is something that like I don't know why, but like this is something that Chester like really wanted to do. Like he fucking believed in this sound. And if there's one thing I won't call this album, it's inauthentic. I think it's very authentic what they were going for here.
Oh yeah, all these songs are about how they're feeling, like very obviously. Even Mike, he has like a song, I don't know, about being a parent, I think. Sorry for Now. And stuff like that. So
yeah.
But it's unfortunate. I hope that's not what killed him. It probably wasn't. But people hated this fucking album, and they still do, I guess.
I felt this way before.
It's not worth getting like upset over.
No, God no. And it's not a terrible progression at all. It makes sense, both on the electronic side and making something poppy. Some rock fans are just mongoloids, I think, because Linkin Park was always extremely poppy. But as soon as you remove the guitars, it's like, oh, now it's pop shit. No, it always was, you idiot. Still though, not good. Sorry, what'd you put the live one? I have not listened to this.
I put the live in B, but
okay.
I put the studio in C.
Yeah, I put the studio in. Yeah, I don't know. I don't hate it, but I don't enjoy it either. One More Light is a beautiful song. So, yeah.
From zero, baby.
We're at the back to zero. Very safe album. I dislike that, but also I gotta say I enjoy some of these songs quite a bit. Let's talk about the best one.
Some of these songs are so fucking good.
Yeah.
I think like it just like let's just get it out of the way. Like I don't like. Is it insensitive to hire her? Sure. Yes. Should this have been released under a different name other than Linkin Park? Probably. But also like if I'm here to just talk about like the music, and some of these songs I think are like honestly among like the best they've like ever done. Like I think the Emptiness Machine is like kind of like one of like the perfect Linkin Park songs. You just like break it down, like the way it just builds upon itself, like building up to Emily's vocal performance. I think lyrically, like it's kind of like unmistakable. Like if this song had Chester on it and it was thrown on like Meteora, like I think it would fit in like literally perfectly.
Yeah.
It is. I think a lot of these just go back to like the roots of what Linkin Park like is all about. Like Heavy is the Crown just sounds like a remake of Faint, which is cool. Because Faint is a great song. I don't think Heavy is the Crown is a great song, but it goes over well enough.
I think she carries it. Her vocals are
she
great.
Does.
The song is way too short.
Like, she is a fucking stellar vocalist. Yeah. Her screams on the Emptiness Machine are like so good.
Every time I listen to it, it's like neurotic. Like it opens something in my brain when she's let you cut me open. That's fucking. And I agree. Perfect Linkin Park. Also perfect for this album because Mike starts singing first and then she goes in, It's very well done. And it's an amazing song.
I think Cut the Bridge is a really good track. I like Overflow a lot.
Really? See, I think tracks like Overflow, once they start using her voice in much more normal ways, where she's just kind of backing vocals, I don't like that. I think she should take front stage every time. I think she's the best part of this album.
Oh wait, I didn't mean Overflow. I meant Casualty. That's my bad.
I agree. That's easily one of the best ones. That's like a return
Yeah,
to.
Casualty is not great.
That feels like a song on. I've already forgotten what it's called. Keys to the Kingdom. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Hunting Party.
No, the Hunting Party.
It's too short, but man, this is a heavy song. I love it. I got too complacent. Like Mike is like being aggressive.
I think if every song was like, well, if every song here was as good as Emptiness Machine, I might like throw this in like A or S. But I think overall this is a really rushed project. I think it, you know, they should have, you know, like they're playing it very safe, you know, as we said. Even like going back to the roots of like what a lot of like a Linkin Park song is like quote unquote supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, I think, because if they did something a little crazier on this album, I think it would have been, you know, I think it would have gone over better too, you know, where, you know, I don't think like a lot of the hardcore fans would have been as upset with it as they are, you know, because, you know, like they're listening to Linkin Park without Chester now, you know, and I think at that point they're like, why the fuck would I listen to a song like Heavy as the Crown if I have Meteora? Not really acknowledging that this is like, I don't know. I was gonna say something different, but at the same time, like, it's not. It is just like kind of basic Linkin Park with, you know, with a more like contemporary, you know, updated sound to it. But I think it mostly goes over well, even if it is like inconsistent at times. And I wish I had more highlights from it, because like I like Casualty, I like Cut the Bridge a lot, but the only song here that I would say is like fucking great is The Emptiness Machine.
Yeah, definitely. Two-Faced, I enjoy a lot. I feel like that's the one that harps the most back to Meteora.
Which one is this again?
Two-Faced Pig in the Middle.
Oh yeah.
It's very enjoyable. And again, just using her voice so well. But definitely other parts here, like the way the album ends is who gives a fuck, and it's very rushed. Yeah, it's not an exciting progression of Linkin Park, but it's just a return to something pretty good, I would say. Like, I enjoy the record.
Do you think they're gonna do anything after this?
I feel... Right when I finished this album, I was like, I hope they do something soon. That we get an album in like a year or two. Because it's so short. And they seem very excited about the whole thing. Everybody fucking loves Linkin Park now. It seems like a success, even though the album isn't like beloved critically or whatever.
Not everybody loves Linkin Park with their current lineup. Like a lot of like I'm not gonna get into it, but like I do think it's like really fucked up that like she's a part of the band, even though like I think like
because he killed himself.
No. It has nothing to do with that. I just think, you know, granted, like if the allegations. I haven't looked into this like thoroughly. I'm speaking purely just from like fucking like headlines or whatever that I've read. But if it is true that she is like this like Scientologist who completely denies like funding mental health and like therapy and all this shit when your former frontman, you know, killed himself like out of like depression, I think that's like kind of insane.
Ding, ding, ding. Can I rebuttal that? Ding ding ding.
Sure.
Well, I think the wife of Chester supported her. I saw that on a post or something. And I'm not looking into this stuff either. I could not care less. But she grew up in Scientology, which is a cult, and she's a gay woman. So I don't think she likes Scientology. And there's that thing where you can't talk bad about Scientology because they'll snatch you and eat your children.
That's true. I did listen to an album of... Well, I tried listening to an album of her previous band, Dead Sarah, because I heard that, like, you know, those lyrics were critical of Scientology, so I gotta throw that out there as well. Right. I didn't pay too much attention to the lyrics because the music was just terrible. and I shut off the album. I should say, like, you know, if all that shit is true, like, I think it's weird that she's in the band, but also... I'm playing the Emptiness Machine like literally every single day since it's come out because like great music is great music, and I think like that song is just fucking stellar.
It
Like
is.
I'm
Top
moved,
tier.
I'm moved by it. I get like very excited by it. I think it's just like honestly, I think it's the hardest song they've ever made since Meteora.
Yeah, I would say it's like top 10, maybe 5. I adore it as well. Let me do my Chester. Goat! Goat! There you go.
But if for whatever reason they do fall apart after this is like a really shitty final album to have. It's a very anticlimactic
I don't think
final
it's gonna
album
be.
to have.
They're so
But also,
selling out
like,
everywhere.
I mean, yeah. So, like, you know, I hope they go on from here. And I hope that we get more songs like the Emptiness Machine because that shit rocks.
Yeah, 100%.
I would throw it in C tier.
I'd put it in B, but whatever. I'll put it there as well.
Cool.
We got the tier list done. We did it, Tay.
We fucking did it.
What are we doing next?
Well, I'll just like rank the albums. Just like off the dome real quick because I have my own ranking.
Okay.
At number 8, I do have From Zero.
Whoa! Are you kidding me?
Okay. I think it's like all things considered, like the least interesting album they have. I think if they didn't play it as
you do your ranking
safe as they did.
But
I mean, like,
don't you enjoy this album more than One More Light? Be fucking real.
I think One More Light is more. I think well, two things. One, I think One More Light is just a more interesting record. And also, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I just don't want to put One More Light at the bottom. I just don't want to do that.
Oh, because
but like, yeah, at 7 I do have. Well, One More Light. I can't justify it any higher than that. 6 I have Minutes to Midnight. 5 I have Hybrid Theory, and 4 I have Thousand Suns. Although those two could be interchangeable. 3 I have Living Things. 2 I have Hunting Party, and 1 I have Meteora.
That's shocking. Let me do mine real quick. At the bottom I have Meteora. At the bottom I have One More Light, Hunting Party, Minutes to Midnight, 1,000 Suns. What's it called? From Zero. I enjoy this record. Living Things, Meteora, Hybrid Fury. Boom, boom, boom.
Hell yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. And their best song is? What's your favorite?
Well, I've assembled like a little top 5 list here of my favorite Linkin Park songs.
Okay.
At number 5, I have In My Remains.
Cool.
4, and maybe it is the recency bias, but at 4 I have The Emptiness Machine. I love it so much.
I could see myself.
3 I have Don't Stay.
Don't stay, forget our memory.
2 I have Breaking the Habit, and number 1, I was not expecting this, but I have absolutely fallen in love with What I've Done.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's a good song. I don't know if that's that's the Stadium Rock song on that album. Stadium.
I get so wrapped up in it every single time, and I think just like I don't know, like that song has really been hitting for me lately. Just like thematically with what it's just I don't know what it's about, and I think the sound of it is just I don't know. I'm addicted to that song. I really love it.
Okay, I forgot a thing here. I made a little intro video. I did the same thing when I did 9 Inch Nails with Eamon. I made an intro video back then, and I forgot to show it. And I almost forgot to show this one too. Let me find it real quick and stream it. How do I do this? It's pretty bad, but I was reminded of it because you talked about What I've Done. Yeah, I think there's many details in What I've Done, like the vocal thing. Like what? Like at one point it like becomes like synthy and weird when it like goes out. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Very nice detail right there. Um, let me how do
I think just like the hook of what I've done too is just like I don't know. I think it's just like on a very simple level. I think it's just unbelievably catchy too. Like it's in my head like all the fucking time now.
That's cool. What was your favorite before that?
Probably Breaking the Habit.
I think that one is probably my favorite, but I also adore One Step Closer and Paper Cut. I can't fucking stream this. Give me a
If
second.
I had to pick a favorite Hybrid Theory cut, I think it's Paper Cut.
It's like paranoid looking over my back. It's like
Yeah.
world.
I do want to give an honorable mention shout out to the One More Light title track though, because and Guilty All the Same. I think those are like really up there for me too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they're good songs. What's an underrated cut? I guess you just named one. I think By Myself is really underrated.
I think Skin to Bone is underrated now. Piece of the Kingdom.
Drop the keys to the kingdom down there.
Is No More Sorrow underrated, or is that one like is that a popular song?
Definitely underrated.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the best pick for underrated I can think of. Oh, my phone just went
No More Sorrow.
Yeah, I don't even love it. I think it's pretty good, but I don't think it ever gets talked about. I'm not on the Linkin Park subreddits though. What would I know?
Neither am I.
Damn, that's sad. Were you ever on 4chan? Have you been there?
No.
Me neither. Thank God for that. We're too young, probably. So let mercy come and wash away what I've done. I'll face myself. Come, come, come. Give me a second here so I can do this the right way. Oh, here we go. Alright, I'm streaming Wonder Show for more right now. So go to the stream, Taylor.
I'm on the stream.
Cool.
My goodness. Oh, we have someone in the chat saying 4chan is cool.
Is that Eamon? No, that's General Stevie.
Oh, whoa.
My boyfriend. Alright. That's the stream, folks. Thank you, my friends, for being here. Nobody was watching.
Thank you for having me, even though I don't think I was particularly insightful on a lot of this.
I think you were very insightful. I think you did a really good job, and you were saying things, even though I've also listened to this a lot, I never thought about. So, thank you, Tay. It was great fun. I hope we play some Fortnite later today, but we'll see.
I don't know about later today, but we will at some point.
God damn it. Life is just nothing but disappointments all